Okay, let's move on to health then. And well, the JCVI has issued, that's the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, has issued a statement on boosters for this autumn, Patrick. And here's what they have to say. The Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation has advised that plans should be made for those at higher risk of severe COVID-19 to be offered a booster vaccination this autumn in 2023. The JCVI also advised that for a smaller group of people, such as those who are older or who are immunosuppressed, an extra booster vaccine dose in the spring should also be planned for. Advice regarding the spring 2023 COVID-19 program will be provided shortly. So here is the Professor Wei Shen Lim from the JCVI saying, well, basically it continues, the vaccine continues, his words, to reduce severe disease across the population while helping to protect the NHS. So they continue to spout this nonsense. This is why we have advised planning for further booster vaccines for persons at higher risk of illness through an autumn booster program this year. Now, what's interesting is that they're actually talking about ending the vaccine offer. They call it an offer. It's like, Marks and Spencer's or something. Get our winter offer this year. So they're ending the winter offer for vaccines. For example, they're going to close the autumn booster campaign and the first booster after the 12th of February 2023. So that's for the autumn 2022 booster campaign. They're going to end that offer in February 2023. And they strongly encourage everyone who is currently eligible for the first booster to come and get their booster before the offer closes. It's like you're listening to somebody from Main Street or something. It's
get it while supplies last.
Well, exactly. So anyway, they seem to be ramping down this to some degree. But in the meantime, of course, the vaccine injured continue to be unheard by the mainstream press and so on. And Andrew Bridgen, MP, of course, as everybody knows now, has taken a stand on this. Many of UK column viewers have been writing to their MPs and asking for comment on this. And I just wanted to highlight one. We'll highlight others over the coming days. But I just wanted to highlight one to give an example of how obscene some of these responses are. So here is Graham Stuart, MP, who's the MP for Beverley and Holderness. And this is his response to someone who asked some very specific questions. So Graham Stewart didn't address any of the questions that he was asked at all, but he made this statement. He said, "Thank you for contacting me about Andrew Bridgen, MP for North West Leicestershire. Mr. Bridgen's spread of misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccines is deeply offensive," is the claim of this MP. He went on to say this: "As a nation, we should be very proud of what has been achieved through the vaccine programme. The vaccine is the best defense against COVID-19 we have." And he said, misinformation about the vaccine causing harm and costs lives. He has not, I am certain, if he's making a statement like that, spoken to anyone who has been injured as a result of taking a COVID-19 vaccine. I would suggest that anybody who's in Graham Stewart's constituency should write to him today and basically ask him to justify this statement, because this is disgraceful. Mr. Bridgen has had the whip removed with immediate effect pending a formal investigation, he says. He went on, of course, to play the anti-Semitism card. This has been a theme through this programme, Patrick.
Right.
So here he is. The Prime Minister commented that it is utterly unacceptable to make linkages between the Holocaust and the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, anybody that's being honest about what Andrew Bridgen said knows very well that he wasn't making a linkage between the Holocaust and COVID-19 vaccine. He said that this was the worst disaster since the Holocaust, or words to that effect. Can't remember the exact words he used, but this twisting of what Bridgen said is, again...
I like the new verbiage, unacceptable linkage.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to steer clear of unacceptable linkages in future, everybody. Just a little advice.
And then Sunak apparently added that he is determined that the scourge of anti-Semitism is eradicated and it has absolutely no place in our society. So anybody, that is making any comment or asking any questions, they continue to get the tag of anti-Semite, and that just deals with the problem straight away. Graham Stewart needs to be held to account for these statements, and I strongly urge people to contact him.
Well, the first slide, Mike, you said that, I don't know if you can bring up the first slide, but he made a statement that seems to be very non-scientific, that the vaccine prevents you from getting COVID or protects you from COVID. Someone should notify Graham Stuart that the CDC in America has abandoned this idea, as has Pfizer itself. And certainly that's what shows in their really haphazard clinical trials, but they don't show that there's any protection against, catching COVID-19, according to the pharmaceutical company, according to the CDC, and according to other government agencies. So is this a case, Mike, where you have some politicians that are still clinging to what are propaganda points from 2020 and 2021 that have long been disproven? They're still clinging to the talking points.
Yes.
So they haven't updated their software. They're still running Windows 97 COVID, okay? So that's unacceptable for a politician. So who's briefing these people? They should be up to date on what's going on, because when they go and make statements like this, they discredit themselves. Simple as that.
Yes, okay. Well, let's do what we threatened to do and bring Jeremy Hunt on screen. He was giving a speech this morning talking about his priorities for the economy. And well, let's just listen to a few seconds of this.
Is that risk-taking by individuals and businesses can only happen when governments provide economic and financial stability. So the best tax cut right now is a cut in inflation. And the plan I set out in the autumn statement tackles that root cause of instability in the British economy. The Prime Minister talked about halving inflation as one of his 5 key priorities. And doing so is the only sustainable way to restore industrial harmony.
So there we go. We're going to restore industrial harmony by tackling inflation. And of course, did he mention money printing? Did he mention government debt? Did he mention the things which actually drive inflation? No, he didn't. What he went on to mention was what a great country Britain is for tech companies. They particularly want life sciences. They want Silicon Valley all to leave California and come to the UK and to build their tech companies here. The capability of the City of London combined with the research strengths of our universities make our aspiration to be a technology superpower not just ambitious but achievable, he said. And today I'm here to say the government is determined to make it happen. This should make people, never mind what thousands of people dying in Ukraine, don't worry about that, because our government's looking after us. We're going to build Britain into a technological superpower.
Global leaders in surveillance and censorship.
Yes.
So look, when you hear the word tackle, everybody, politicians like using this word tackle. We're going to tackle. Tackle means equals nothing will get done. It's better to say tackle if you're a politician than to say we're going to solve this problem. They never say that. They say we're going to tackle it. Well, some tackles are successful and others aren't, and the person runs down the field. But,
he announced the 3 E's, Patrick, you'll be glad to know, because these are the key components for long-term prosperity: enterprise, education, and employment.
Oof.
Those are the 3 E's, so everybody should be impressed with that. But by the end of the speech, it became 4 E's, because the 4th one was everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yes, enterprise, education, employment, and everywhere.
How does that square with UBI and universal credit, this idea of creating jobs? Government also likes to say they can create jobs.
Well, they're going to create lots of jobs in the tech sector.
Good paying jobs.
Good paying jobs, yes, it's going to be fantastic.
Good paying green jobs.
One name was dropped. We're going to end on this. One name was dropped in his speech, and no surprises, hold on to your hats. The name that was dropped was Bill Gates. That was the name that Jeremy Hunt thought everybody should know about in his speech. And so there you go.
A lack of self-awareness is an understatement. By the way, just the last thing, Mike, what is the inflation rate right now per month, month on month?
Well, it depends. The inflation rate, the headline inflation rate, well, month on month, don't know, but the annual inflation rate is supposed to be 10% at the moment. If you're buying food, it's significantly higher than that. 14, 15, 16, maybe 20% in some cases. People are noticing. I'm noticing.
It's a lot higher than 10, Mike.
It's a lot higher than 10%. So the key thing about inflation is, of course, you've got some products which are higher cost, higher rate of change, some that are lower. And when they measure their basket of goods, they get an average, and the average isn't necessarily the things that we actually need. So if there's some things that are maybe luxury purchases where there isn't much inflation because people don't have much money, and therefore actually there's downward pressure on the prices of luxury goods, then that tends to offset the reality. But when food and energy are the two key costs,
and rent,
yes, exactly, rents are going up as well, then the reality of inflation for people on the ground is much higher than the headline suggests.
and they want to raise taxes as well, and it will be raised all over the place. Council tax, they're saying there's going to be a crisis with councils. They're going to have to raise council tax. But if the real inflation rate's 20%, Mike, and the Prime Minister promises to have that by the end of the year, what are we talking about? 10%? Will that be half? Is that going to be good? Is that successful? Is that going to stabilize things? I really don't think that these people, especially, when did Jeremy Hunt become an economic expert? I don't know.
Never. The bottom line here is we should not be spending billions of pounds on a war that we shouldn't have anything to do with in Ukraine. And it's time that we need to rebuild an anti-war lobby, I think, in this country. But anyway, that's just a final thought.
Yeah, before the doomsday clock ticks to midnight.
Yeah.
Just a little food for thought.
Okay, we got to leave it there for today. Thank everybody for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes for a bit of extra. Thanks, Patrick, for being with us. If you're not joining us for extra because you're not a UK Column member, we'll see you at 1 p.m. as usual on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.